Hello everyone, Josh Ferris back at it again. I know I have not been streaming yet. I'm trying to get back into that schedule soon, guys, with all the holidays now over. But I got a cool discussion video for you, and that is, as the title says, are specialty changes actually worth it? Now, to just quickly answer that question right off the bat before we actually dive into the reasoning behind that is, yes, it is worth it, but it may be worth it for different reasons than you originally intended. So we're going to be diving into a few little things here that I've kind of been discovering as I've been playing this game. We are on, I believe, day 32 right now, if I'm keeping track. So I've noticed a few things when it comes to the CP, the overall stats. You know, you got to look into skills as well, armor, setups, the most optimal catalyst as well. A lot of things to consider when you're building your units, right? Well, the thing is, I feel like that 6% boost that they gave to all 5 stars, that pretty much nerfed all 3 stars in the game, was actually very, very massive, even maybe more massive than we originally thought. And the 4%, I'm sorry, the 3% for 4 stars was also pretty big as well. But that big gap between 3 stars and 5 stars now is just absolutely massive. And I really didn't know how massive until I actually started testing some of my armor swaps between Commander Lorena and Kisei, who, by the way, are both level 60, and they are both 5 times awakened. So they're both been awakened for their 5th time. So they are pretty much equal footing when it comes to investment-wise with awakening and with leveling, right? And they are both using the exact same gear. I swapped it between Lorena and Kisei to kind of do some testing, and the results were actually pretty shocking. Now, of course, I can't show you the proper results because I've actually been playing around with some new armor for Commander Lorena, which you'll see here. Her gear does say she's around 33,000, but she's actually more around 45,000 if I put her other gear back on. But I've been playing around with these boots. I still don't know what the other 3 substats are. I'm crossing my fingers here. So I've been playing around a little bit with that, and these aren't, and this isn't maxed out, and this isn't maxed out. But her other armor that I had was maxed out, so she's technically around 45k if I put her other armor back on. But you guys already know my Kisei. She's over 61,000. And this is the exact gear right here. The exact gear and the exact catalyst that I was running at the time on my Lorena. And my Lorena was sitting at around, she just touched, I believe, 50,000. And my Kisei, as you can see, is at 61,000. With the same exact gear. So you're talking a 10 to 11,000 combat power difference. And a lot of you, you know, combat power isn't everything. Sometimes it's team builds, sometimes it's how you invest in their skills and what kind of skills they actually have. That can kind of really dictate a little bit more on how good your team strategy is. However, stats are still very, very important. And when you're getting almost a 10 to 11,000 more combat power on a character that took me 3 or 4 days to invest into compared to a character that took me almost 5 weeks to invest into, and I'm still not done with her because I still got to do the rest of her skill tree. Wow. You're talking crazy, crazy resource heavy investment in one character over the other and still coming up 10 to 11,000 CP, 10 to 11,000 CP short. That is massive. So you can assume that most of my statistics were much higher on my Kisei than Lorena. Another test that I did was my Kisei is actually out damaging my Lorena if they were both on equal footing with everything. Even if I invest a little bit more into my Lorena skill tree, I feel like she's still going to come up a little bit short on Kisei in terms of overall damage because Kisei can do her second skill, which does penetration. She also can pretty much break through barriers, which you're going to see pretty much, I feel, for the rest of this game's content. I feel like those are just so clutch and so versatile that you're just going to make use of that for the rest of the game. Because I just feel like there's going to be armor, there's going to be barriers on either minions or in PvP for the rest of this game. For the rest of this game's entirety, I do believe. And it just does so much damage, especially if you ever had 100% crit, compared to my Lorena that was in a similar situation with the same exact armor. But again, you got to think 5 weeks, if not 6 weeks, if you're trying to max out the skill tree, depending on how much stamina you have, if you're a free-to-play, a casual spender, or a whale, compared to a character that you only need to invest into for maybe a week. and most of the investment is going to be really just awakening the character, because it does cost more to awaken a 5-star, of course, than a 3-star, especially if you're trying to 5th awaken, because you need like, what, 15 catalysts compared to, what, 9. So it does take a little bit longer, not so much, but definitely a little bit. And you can also tell that the awakens are much higher statistically for improvement with a 5-star compared to a 3-star, which of course that should be natural. That should be a natural thing, especially considering that they do cost more. So overall, if you pull the 5-star unit and then you have Lorena, I feel that Lorena at some point will be completely just bypassed by everything else that are probably going to be 4 or 5 stars. I feel like there's a lot of 4 and 5 stars that kind of bypass her now that we may not have originally thought, because Lorena does look very enticing. She hits very hard early on, so you're going to invest into her early. And then it becomes more of a, you're just going to keep investing into her because you've already invested into her, instead of, I got better units, I should invest in them and just stop with Lorena. Because I know how these types of games can work, you know, especially mentally. If you invest into a unit so much, even if you pull a better unit, sometimes you feel obligated to still invest into the other unit because you've already went so deep into them, and you don't want to feel like all your resources were wasted. And I feel like that's something you also need to consider. So this video really isn't should you not or should you. It's more consider the options and really think about what you're doing and trying to think a little bit long term. Now, we all can't think in hindsight because that would be impossible, but we can at least try to have a generalized, educated guess of kind of where we want to be in the next week, 2, 3 weeks, 4 or 5 months from now, character-wise, and what kind of characters you want to invest into. So it's definitely something that you may want to consider. Now, Kluri, as an example, right now, just kind of, in my opinion, got replaced by basically Fire Ken, because he does armor break, I believe, much easier than Kluri, even if you include Kluri being more of a speed unit, so she may be able to get her attacks off more often. But the problem with Kluri is she only really has her 3rd skill. Everything else really just does not do too much for your team. It's more or less a missed opportunity once or twice every couple turns with her, because she can't really offer too much to your team except for maybe that spot healing and healing herself. So she's a really good wall, but it's like we already have better walls in the game. We already have better units in the game that are better at tanking. And now there's better units that are easier to obtain that are better at defense break. I mean, there's a lot of 4 stars that can defense break pretty easily. You also have characters like Azaria and Ken that are 5 stars that can defense break. So there's a lot of defensive breaking going on now at this point that I feel like Kluri, with her investment that you need in her, as well as her skill tree, which is another level of investment, the same thing for Lorena, it really comes down to, do you really think it's worth doing all that work, or at least doing it right now when you have other available units that are as good, if not better, that you only need to invest into for a week, or maybe even a few days if you already have the resources saved up. So it's definitely interesting. Now, I am part of the issue. That's why I wanted to make this video, to kind of address from my perspective here. Now, a lot of this is just based on a lot of stuff that I've learned. A lot of people may have different experiences. A lot of people may have actually got more on this subject than me, and I would love to get their take on that in the comment section below. So be sure to keep that conversation going, because I would love to hear some of you guys' input and takes on that. And there's might be some people that even have more information to support what I'm saying that I would also love to read. So, but anyways, it's like, you gotta stack up the entire resource, because remember, this game, as I said in my last video, we have stamina and gold issues in Epic 7. There is no way you can deny that this game does not have stamina issues. It does, it very much so, and it really shows itself probably when you get around rank 35, 40, and you start not ranking up as often, and you really start seeing that stamina just kind of dissipate, and then you have to wait several hours. Now, of course, if you're whale, this video and most videos I'm going to talk about don't matter, because I'm more directing to the free-to-play and casual players, you know, casual spenders, not so much the whales, because really a whale doesn't really need any of this information because they're spending a lot of money anyway, so they really won't have the same types of obstacles as a lot of other people. So keep that in mind. If you're a whale, this video probably doesn't matter to you at all. But if you do enjoy these videos, that'd be cool if you watch as well. So I'm cool. But yeah, I was just dumbfounded when I realized the actual difference. Now, I knew a 5-star's natural stats are going to be higher than a 3-star, even a specialty change one, but I had no idea that it was going to be to that severity. I feel like for a specialty change at this point to be worth it to me, if I already have a 4 or 5 star that can do similar things, if not better, is if it obtains that third skill change that is just absolutely amazing. Something that's completely going to just make me say, yup, I have to get that unit. Because the skill tree investment for a free-to-play is abysmal. Abysmal. And I repeat, abysmal. If you're a free-to-play player and you're relying on just your free stamina per day and whatever stones you have available and you're not summoning, you know what I'm talking about. The skill trees are disgusting for how long they take, to the point where it's almost downright ridiculous. So some of you know what I'm talking about. But to take that kind of unit with that kind of investment and compare it to a 4 or 5 star that can do a similar thing and, like I said, only take a few days, I just feel that the specialty changes are kind of really starting to really show themselves as not really being that high tier, that high commodity that we really want to chase after. Especially if you like to summon a lot, even if you're a free-to-play or casual spender. And if you're a whale, it may even seem maybe a little bit less worthwhile to you as well, because you know, you're going to pull a lot of units because you're a whale, so you might have a lot more options to work with. And depending if you're a hardcore farmer or if you're just a casual player that spends a lot, you know, it really depends on your play style. But yes, the specialty changes are cool. I like how they're doing that. I feel like the specialty changes, though, are more geared towards if you want to do that long-term commitment as a legit free-to-play player and you're having bad luck with your pulls, it's a good sub-unit to throw in your team. But I feel like it's definitely going in the direction now that the specialty changes so far, at least the 3 that we have. Maybe Godax could argue a little bit for him because he's a Moonlight character, so he definitely got a pretty big amp. And he was already kind of really high-classed before they nerfed him, so he was already bound to be good. But I feel like with, like, outside of that, I just feel like the kind of, like, Clarion Lorena right now just aren't really hitting that usefulness that I originally once thought. Now, I'm very much guilty of being very overhyped for Lorena, as are a lot of YouTubers and a lot of players, because we kind of just got into that hype train. We saw that a lot of people were using Lorena. We saw that she's really, really cool. She hits hard, and she is going to be one of your hardest hitters that you're going to have until you start pulling other ones, of course. But I feel like she just becomes a substitute very, very early, more than we may have anticipated if you've got better units. For me personally, if I pulled Ken, regular Ken, I would put him on my team and actually replace Lorena, because then I would have a really good defense break with a high DPS or with Kisei. I got my Katie's, which I pulled and streamed the other day for my healer, and then I'd have my DN as the ultimate support. So I would no longer have a need for Lorena, even though I went through all that time and effort. And for some of you who don't have that kind of stamina to waste, if you pulled similar units that are good like that, is it worth it for you to go chasing down Lorena and doing all that work and investing all those resources into her skill tree just to try to get her up to a 4 or 5 star level after all of that grinding? So that's going to be the big question that I have for you guys in the comment section below. Let me know if this video was insightful or helpful in any way, or if it maybe just gave you a different look on the specialty changes or a new lease on life. I highly doubt that, but if it did, yo, I'm here to help. But yeah, I just wanted to share my experience when it comes to specialty change units compared to 4 and 5 star units. I mean, it might even be in my best interest at this point to start investing in my, where's it at? I don't even know where he's at. I must have passed him up. There he is. To start working on my Assassin Sid, which clearly has garbage armor that I just threw on him so he wasn't naked. So Assassin Sid might even be the way to go. And another thing, if you're looking at tier list a lot and you're looking at the scores, it's like, think of the amount of investment you have to do to get your specialty change characters to get to that 9.5 or that 9.6. And look at your characters you currently pulled. Do you have any characters that you've already pulled that are already a 9.5 or 9.6? Compare and contrast that as well, because that's also a huge factor. The resource investment is really what I believe is holding back specialty changes to being like just absolutely a no-brainer for being worth it. Because if it was just, oh, just quickly, just specialty change it, do this and this and this, boom, 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 you're done in a day. Now you got a 3 star that can compete with a 4 and 5 star. Then yeah, it's worth it. It's a no-brainer. But when you look at it, you're like, oh my God, 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, even maybe 4 weeks of work to specialty change, and then bam, you get hit with that skill tree, and you're thinking, oh my God, you're talking another 2,000-3,000 stamina maybe to max that bad boy out, and now you finally have a unit that's hitting 9.4, 9.5, maybe even 9.6 on the tier list at that given time, when, oh my god, you got a character sitting in your box that's already a 9.5 or 9.6 that could be a really good replacement or maybe even better than what you're already working on for your team by default. And you also got to consider how much work you have to chase to get that score. Another thing with the tier list that a lot of people are overlooking is just because you pulled that character, it doesn't just, boom, automatically become a 9.5 or 9.6. No. That rating is based on optimal gear, using optimal catalyst, and being probably highly awakened, really good gear, right? So you still have to build that character up to that rating to achieve. That's the character's potential at that time. It's ceiling. And I feel like right now, for me personally, Lorena ceiling is a lot lower than some of my other units. But sadly, I've already invested so much into Lorena at this point that I'm now kind of behind on other things that I may want to invest into, like Assassin Sid, for example. You know, my DNs kind of suffered because I was invested into Lorena because I was on that hype train early as well. And I just kind of want to just give my input and my insight on it and let you guys make your own, you know, analysis on it rather, and you decide for yourself what you want to do. But I'm here. If you guys need me, I'll be in the comment section below answering as many questions as I can. So I hope you guys do have some. I hope some of you have some cool stuff to talk about, and let's keep the conversation going. So what do you guys think about this? Do you think that it's worth it? I personally think it is, but for different reasons. I feel that it's cool if you want to be a collector. I feel that it's cool to have if you don't have a better unit, but I just feel like the hype train for specialty changes just really isn't there for me no more after kind of realizing this stuff as I've been playing longer and longer, gaining more experience as a player and learning from other people that honestly, Lorena just isn't the shit no more for me personally, if you want to put it bluntly, that there are units that I probably have right now that I could put on my team that would probably be better fits for what I'm trying to do and would save me a lot more resources in doing so. But am I sad that I have her? No, I'm still happy that I got her. She looks cool. I like her. And I could make some really cool all free-to-play teams with her in the future. I could use her, Hazel, when she gets her specialty change. I could use Silk, maybe Ross, Mercedes, something like that, and build a full free-to-play team. But that'll be way down the road because I don't want to waste resources on those characters. But would be cool nonetheless. But anyways, I'm going to get out of here. Hope you guys all have a great, awesome day wherever you are. Please subscribe if you're new. Just check out more Epic 7 content. We're going to be doing some Ragnarok M here in a few days. I believe it drops on the 9th. As well as I'm bringing Grand Chase back. Many of you have asked, Josh, where did you go? Where did Grand Chase go? Well, now that I've quit Duel Links and I have more free time, and Epic 7's kind of like on, you know, I basically burned my stamina then stopped playing for a few hours. I have time to now play Grand Chase again, which I have been doing so if you've been following me in the Discord. So those videos will be returning very soon as well. Plus, next week, anime reviews are coming back. So a lot of cool stuff here on the channel. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any of it. And I'll catch you guys all in the next one. Drop a like on the video, comment below, join us in the Discord below, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace.